This video is brought to you by Nokian Tires, a leader in safety and sustainability. Maximize performance and efficiency with their made in USA all-season tires and their dedicated Hakkapeliitta EV winter line from the inventor of the winter tire. Learn more at nokiantire.com/EV. This video is also brought to you by Magna, forward for all.
Welcome back to Out of Spec. How adorable is this? This is the Honda Motocompacto, a fantastic first and last mile electric scooter offering from Honda. Kind of the perfect companion to your EV. If only Honda had more EVs here in the States. It's coming, but this arrived first. This Motocompacto was actually the spiritual successor to the Motocompo, which was a two-stroke 49cc scooter that could be had as a factory option with the Honda City car, the City Turbo 2, over in Japan. We never got that in the States. This we do get in the States, and it's actually States designed and engineered. Honda has said it's born in California, raised in Ohio, so it's actually internal to the US as far as most development, if not all, but this thing is so freaking adorable. And of course the bell, yeah, the bell is a great little sound. So I think we should actually look at where this came from first, just at a quick glance, because the Motocompo was a really cool, unique solution that was meant to be carried in the back of a car, but internal combustion engine and everything made it heavier, over twice as heavy as this. That weighed about 100 pounds. This one weighs 41 pounds. Much lighter, much more manageable to carry. This is the Motocompo, only sold with that Honda Turbo 2 city car from 1981 to 1983 in Japan, making it super rare. But I did track one down up in the Bay Area so I could check it out. Unfortunately, it wasn't running, but I could still see it, tinker with it, and even feel just how much a little suspension and pneumatic tires can do for ride comfort, which, as you'll see later, the Motocompacto does not have. It's gas-powered, heavier and bigger, and it just wasn't popular enough to keep around. It was brilliantly engineered, and I think it looks awesome. It was a bit faster and more powerful than Motocompacto, but the weight and fluids penalty ultimately compromised it just too much. But here we are, 40 years later, with its legacy reborn. So let's first see how to set this thing up, and we'll see how it compares to the timing of the Motocompo. Okay. So, I'd say a bit more complex than the Motocompo, but also a lot more finely packaged. So let's do a quick walk around. This is the carrying handle, branded nicely Honda, and while it's folded down, that's an easy way to carry it, all 40 pounds or so. There are foot pegs down here which fold in, as you saw. This is the wheel release, aptly labeled. Everything's like really cleanly labeled. The rear wheel slides in and out. This is where the brake is located. The front wheel spins almost fully sideways, not quite, maybe 60 degrees or so. That's the front hub motor, which is 490 watt peak power, 250 nominal, not class leading, but not bad for a e-scooter. The entire thing is kind of like a broadside of a barn. Looks kind of like a suitcase, is meant to feel like a large duffel bag of sorts, and they actually meant for it to be kind of a clean, clear canvas, like you would see like the back of a laptop, where you can just add stickers or decals, or in our case, maybe we can buy some of these, get a little out of spec fleet going, label them, put racing numbers on, of course, for our races out to our lunches. The seat is small, but once everything's unfolded, there's a bunch of storage capacity in here for like a laptop bag or other small things. And you can even fit like a charger inside there, carry that with you and charge whenever you get stopped. Handlebar, very simple. These are the only kind of leather components. Seat's not very cushy, but that saves packaging, I guess. Very clear display that I can see even in the sunlight on the way over here. Very easy to see the screen, so no complaints there. Bell. That's pretty adorable, just like the rest of it. And that's about it. The brake on the left side, the foot pegs, and it's so skinny so your legs are a little bit close together, and a small little kickstand. As for specs, 15 miles an hour top speed from that 490 peak hub motor. 250 nominal. So you're not going to get to 15 miles an hour very fast. It says 0 to 15 in 7 seconds. I've never seen something say 0 to 15 before, but it's fine. The battery is 6.8 amp hours, and so that gives you about 12 miles of range on a full charge, depending on riding conditions, as they say, how many hills, how fast you're going. But I will say it doesn't really go that fast anyway, so you may as well sit at full speed for most of it. You can charge that 6.8 amp hour battery in about 3.5 hours from the wall outlet, and the charging socket is right here on the front. Nice and sort of water resistant seal, as it appears to be, and a front light and a tail light, all LED, all very bright, which is nice. So that keeps you safe during the day. Lots of little levers for locking mechanisms and such. It's really a pretty clever packaging design, but yeah, not quite as fast to unpack as the Motocompo. One other thing I will say is that the tires don't give you a whole lot of impact resistance. They are slightly treaded, so probably decent in some water situations. Nothing like crazy. I wouldn't take it through deep puddles or anything like that. But one thing it's missing that the Motocompo had was a little bit of suspension. Now the Motocompo didn't have a lot, but this doesn't have any. There is no give. So it is definitely a bit harsh. And when you don't have much tire give or seat give, you're gonna feel pretty much all of that, especially sitting right above it. When you first power it up, by default, it does go to mode 1, which means it has to have a rolling start to get going. So you have to be going like 1 mile an hour for it to actually start, the throttles actually work. Whereas if you are in mode 2, which I do by double clicking the power button, it will just start going just like that. So you want to be careful. The default is mode 1, but you can change that default with the app. So the app will let you have a bit more customization, such as choosing a default mode upon startup, either mode 1 or mode 2, possibly some lighting adjustments. They are still working out details in the app, so kind of like other technology nowadays, it's not all available at launch, which is a bit of a frustrating trend in the industry. You know, a lot of smartphones come out and say, oh, this feature will come in a few months. It's a little frustrating. It's not exactly a half-baked product. The product seems great, very well thought out, very Honda engineered. Of course, it feels a little bit flimsy, but that's what keeps the weight down, and it keeps it actually carryable. So we'll see what the app ends up adding. But another thing the app will do at a later date is to actually kind of lock the motor and basically act as like a kill switch, almost like a lock, so someone can't steal it as easily. Of course, it is lightweight and stealable, but you have this nice lock in the kickstand, which will let you tie it up to pretty much anything. It'll fit most major bike locks. And because it was probably a bit hard to show how to actually fold it up before, the method is this pushes down to actually let you pull the seat up. Then the handlebars can be folded up with a couple different folding mechanisms, and this screw loosens it, which, fun fact, this is how the original Motocompo, the screw can come off. The way the original Motocompo unfolded was the same kind of geared, like, stopper mechanism that lets you put it in place and then tighten down. Pretty cool, but yeah, I guess that dial does pop off there. That's all right. There are even sensors, so when you unfold the wheel, but let's say you don't get the rear wheel all the way out, or you don't put the handlebars all the way up, those sensors will prevent you from actually taking off. It prevents the motor from actually working, which is good. They kind of dummy-proofed it just a little bit there. And then once the handlebars are folded in, the seat's put in first, then handlebars are folded in. You can move the wheel inwards with another type of release mechanism here. This release doubles as what locks the handlebars in place, and then that lets you pick it up. It's really quite genius, the assembly. These lift up, fold in, pull out, fold out. Super, super nifty. And yeah, even this shape is, you know, cut on the corners. It's a little bit of a unique design, as unique as you possibly can get a rectangle. And the charger actually has the same shape. Now, it's not an onboard charger. It is a separate charging brick, kind of like your laptop, but you can stow it inside while you're riding, which in a way makes it an onboard charger of sorts. But otherwise, this is nice, ample storage space for, I don't know, if you had like a 16-inch MacBook Pro, it would actually stick up a bit, but if it's in a nice padded bag, I would honestly trust it there, and whatever else you can creatively fit. There will also be some accessories for this guy, such as a helmet. Not this one, this is just a cool 1000 helmet. Love this thing. There will be an actual helmet matching this, and a few other things, maybe even things that will fit perfectly in this. Now that you know everything about it, let's see how it is to ride.
I know. Camera angle sucks. Turns out when you use your Apple Watch to film you and you touch the digital crown, even with yourself, like doing this, it zooms in. So there was really cool scenery, and now it's just me with the speedometer, so forgive me.
Launching it. 0, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right before the wall. No ABS, so that's something. So it's not a speed demon in a straight line, but once you get up to speed, that's where it starts feeling quite a bit better. So how does it ride? Well, 15 miles an hour is not exactly spec leading on top speed, nor is it 0 to 15. It is still funny to me thinking of 0 to 15 versus 0 to 60 that you would find in a car. Obviously this won't do 60, but 0 to top speed in 7 seconds. Honestly, I don't know how many cars could actually do that, but it does handle better than I expected for something with a very, very twitchy handlebar. In that way, it's similar to a lot of other small scooters. But unlike the ones you typically stand on, this one you are sitting, which I find much more comfortable. I will say the seat is not fantastic. I don't know if I could do more than, say, an hour's worth of riding, but at the same time, I don't think you could get more than an hour on one go. With a 15 mile an hour top speed, 12 miles on a charge, that's gonna be less than an hour because you can spend most of the ride at top speed. You're basically sitting above the front wheel so it can turn very sharp. Kind of like a cab over truck, I guess, if you think of it that way, but extremely tight turning radius. In fact, if you try to pull the throttle at full lock, you'll probably just tip over. But I would say it is very adequate as far as a speed for sidewalks or bike lanes or even within traffic downtown. You'd have to check on, sometimes the legality on a bike lane is not even feasible, but I've been cruising for quite a while now and I've only just now used the second bar of battery. There are some rattles, but that is kind of what's expected from a foldable, essentially. I don't know how they could exactly do the folding without having some rattles there about, but it's not enough to be annoying or obnoxious. What's amazing though is the throttle modulation is extremely linear, I'd say. A lot of e-bikes, especially cheaper ones, it's kind of an on-off switch and you just use it as you need to, like full on, and if you want to slow down, full on, but then off and then on and then off. This one, I can literally put my thumb wherever I want and actually go that exact speed. Like right now I'm choosing 7 miles an hour instead of 15. That's really fantastic. The throttle itself, it is just a little thumb paddle and it feels so good. The brake also feels very nice. It's like, that's kind of what you expect from Honda, right? Quality components. So what are my final thoughts? Well, personally, I love it. I would take one, I would take 10. Sure, I wish maybe it had a bit bigger battery, a bit more range because of that, maybe a higher top speed. No replaceable, removable battery. That's a little bit of a miss in my opinion. It would have been awesome to have a bunch of batteries sitting around, just hot swap them, have like a battery tray charging in your Rivian gear tunnel. That's okay. Maybe future Hondas will have options to charge this efficiently and easily from like a car outlet. There's a lot of potential and I like the direction Honda's taking. This thing was bred from a personal passion project, a thing that Honda promotes within the companies of telling people, hey, just come up with something silly and we'll have competitions to see who has the best idea. This was someone's idea and they decided to make it a real thing, which is really cool. It's like an actual concept car becoming a car, which like never happens. Within the constraints of the packaging and their intention behind it, it does actually make sense to me. It's not class leading as far as what you're getting on specs on paper for money, but at the same time, a lot of those companies are not Honda. They're not name brand and they're not designed or made in the US or anything like that. I don't know if this is made in the US, but designed in the US, that's pretty cool. So I'm a fan. I would totally take it. Let me know what you guys think. This is kind of interesting because the original one, the Motocompo, the gas version that weighed over twice as much and was bigger, it did have a bit higher top speed, but it was hard to get in and out and it actually fit in a small car that it could be optioned with. This could fit in your EV. It could be charged off your EV. So I'm curious, what EVs Honda's going to start bringing out. I mean, we know the Prologue is coming, the Acura is their premium version, the ZDX. This will fit in those. I don't know if it actually has a specific space for it, but they will have an actual carrying case for this as one of those accessories that lets you hold it in the trunk, hold it like firmly, like, I don't know, it's kind of a solution. But what they could have done, Honda, you could have, I know you don't have a frunk, but you could have repackaged it just ever so slightly to have a perfect slot for this in the front trunk, just like Hyundai and Kia and Genesis did with their little tiny front trunks. Of course, they don't have one of these, but that's for like storing your charging cables or whatever else for your car. I think that'd be a really unique solution, and that would be a fun little marketing thing for Honda, I think, if they had cars with an exact spot for this. It wouldn't be like a waste of space, because if someone had the car without this, they could just put a normal duffel bag there or something similar to this size. It's a useful storage space no matter what, but it would be a fun Easter egg if this actually fit. I know the Prologue has a bit of space underneath the rear floor, but I don't think it's quite big enough for this. But anyways, that's been it. Thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. Let us know what you think of the Honda Motocompacto and even the Motocompo. What would be really cool is if we bought a Motocompo and electrified it. Kyle? But that's been it. I didn't crash it. Actually, some other journalists did, but not because it's incapable, it's because they were being kind of dumb. I, on the other hand, don't crash everything. Cheers.